Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Junior Francica. In today's video, we're going to discuss weather in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Weather's always changing and no different parts of the country get certain types of weather. We get asked about tornadoes, about snow, about rain, sunshine, all that stuff we're going to cover in today's video. First, we're going to discuss the 4 seasons that you can find here in Chattanooga, but stick around to the end where we talk about tornadoes and all the bad inclement weather that you can find here. So getting into the 4 seasons, I absolutely love the weather here personally. I grew up in South Florida, so over there you have pretty much 2 seasons, very hot and milder hot, right? So you have summer and you have winter, and that's typically what you get. You don't get, fall with the leaves changing. You don't get a taste of winter or spring where everything blooms. And here in Chattanooga, you definitely get the whole spectrum of all 4 seasons, which is a plus. But you do get some milder winters compared to many different parts of the country. So starting off with my favorite time of the year, summer, here in Chattanooga, you can expect very hot temperature like most places. But one thing that I will mention, a lot of places on the western part of the country get a lot more 100+ degree weather. Here, the average in the summer on the high end, I believe, is in the 90s. But the thing that we do get that a lot of these 100+ degree weather areas don't get is humidity. In Chattanooga, we definitely get a lot of humidity. The annual average humidity in Chattanooga throughout the whole year is 71%, with a high of 77 or 78% in August, September, and a low of 71% around the winter months. And if you just want to have something to compare to, everybody knows that Florida is a very hot, muggy, humid type climate. And in Florida, I grew up in Miami, and I was actually shocked that Miami, the high humidity gets about 78 to 79. So we're really not too far off compared to Florida. Tampa and different places of Florida, it's almost similarly to the humidity here. Now it's not as bad, right? Over there you get a couple more percentages as far as the humidity goes, but Chattanooga definitely has that humidity. If you've never lived somewhere that has that humidity, it's something that you're definitely going to have to get used to. After summer, obviously comes fall time, and then the temperatures in fall. Get it? All right. The temperatures fall in fall, obviously, and October is the first month of fall, and it's actually really nice when you have a very hot and muggy summer. You get into fall, and these temperatures are absolutely amazing. Great time to start hiking, great time to start camping and going on all these outdoor adventures, even though you can do all that through the summer. But the fall time is definitely a great time to start camping by yourself or with your families, especially if you have kids. It's a great time for that. So from September to October, the temperatures drop dramatically, about 10 to 15 degrees, and the average temperature in October is 61 degrees with a high 72, so it's absolutely amazing. Hey guys, real quick, I'm an agent in Chattanooga, so if you're looking to move here, reach out to me on the number on your screen, give me a call, shoot me a text. I would absolutely love to help you make the move to this beautiful and awesome city. So that being said, let's get back to today's video. After fall comes winter. Now winters here are way more mild compared to a lot of places in the country. Coming from South Florida, I wanted to experience what winters are like, and Chattanooga definitely has a very specific type of winter that you will find here. The average temperature that you'll get in the coldest month of the year is 40 degrees. Now that's not horrible, but you do have lows in the low 30s and you have highs in kind of the low 50s, right? So 40 degrees is what you can expect. But in my experience here, January typically is from 20s to 35 degrees. That's kind of what the range is. This week actually it got down to the single digits. It got 6 degrees for one night, and that was pretty crazy because it never gets that cold. We also got snow, and then it kind of froze over, so it's something that doesn't happen here very often. Now speaking of snow, the average snowfall in Chattanooga is a whopping, are you ready for it, 1.4 inches. So we do not get a lot of snow at all. Every 3 to 5 years or so, I would say we get a nice snow, and that's really 4, 5, maybe even 6 inches, and it stays for a day or two, but then it kind of melts away. So it's just enough for you to take out your kids and go sledding or build a snowman and do things with the snow, but not cold enough that it lasts and it stays here for weeks and weeks and weeks. Another thing that goes on with the winter that you need to be aware of is that December has the most rainfall out of the whole year. Now it depends on what website you say. Sometimes it's March, sometimes it's December, but for the most part I've seen December being the most, with with 4.7 inches. I know a lot of places in the country don't even get more than 2 inches the whole year. So we definitely get more rain when compared to other places in the country. Now the rain that you will get here, especially in the winter time, it's very light, very drizzly type of rain. If you've ever been to theme parks in the summer where they have the fans with like the sprinkling water in front of it, that's kind of the rain that we get here. We don't get very many thunderstorms, things of that nature. We do sometimes, but for the most part, the rain is very drizzly. So just think about, you know, low 30s degree weather, very gray and gloomy for the most part. Sometimes it's clear, but with rain, that's typically how our winters are here. And then as we pass winter, we go into springtime. Springtime is a awesome time of the year. A lot of the times everybody's done with winter. They want to start getting more nature. They want to start getting more warmer weather. And spring typically starts here late March to early April. The temperatures start rising already. And April, the month of April and the month of October have very similar temperatures in the low 60s, a high of, you know, low 70s sometimes, and a low of the 50s. So you get really nice weather temperatures in April. And then from May to June is really when you get the most bump. In May, you get the average of 68 degrees, and then June, you get an average of 76 degrees. So from one month to the other, it gets a lot warmer. So springtime here is beautiful. You have all the vegetation kind of coming to life, the flowers, the trees, the bees. If you love spring, this is definitely a great place to live because we are surrounded by nature and mountains, and springtime is definitely a place where everybody rejoices because they are done with the winter cold and ready to move on and get into warmer weather. All right, so we went through the 4 seasons, so let's discuss some other things that you need to know. And one of the main things that we get asked all the time is tornadoes. Tornadoes are one of those things that everybody's afraid of. Even if you live somewhere that has a lot of tornadoes, it's always on your mind. I grew up in South Florida, so it's more about hurricanes, but tornadoes really are not a huge issue here in this area. If they were a huge issue, my wife would not want to live here because she is petrified of tornadoes. So I'm going to put a picture on the screen right now, and you can see that from 1950 to 2022, they've counted a total of 26 tornadoes in Hamilton County, where Chattanooga is located. Now, that may seem like a lot, but for a 72-year span, that's really not that much. I'm going to put another picture on the screen here, and as you can see, it's the average annual tornadoes from 89 to 2019, and this will show you a picture of how many tornadoes are in each state. And if you look at Tennessee, it's only 28 tornadoes. Below us at Alabama, there's 50, Georgia, there's 34, Florida actually has 60 tornadoes. If you see Texas, 151, so on and so forth. So as you can see from those pictures, do we get tornadoes? Yes, we do. Does it happen all the time? No, it does not. I've been here since 2012, and right before I got here, there was a tornado that hit, but it was on the northern Georgia side, and then there was a tornado that hit about 4 years ago. So it hit, kind of went for a mile, picked up, and kind of disappeared. So does it happen? Yes, but for the most part, it's not something that is always a worry and something that every time the weather kind of changes, because it's also for just a month or two out of the year. It's really when that cold weather mixes with the warm weather changing with the season, that's when you can get tornadoes. So that's also another plus. It only happens a certain amount of time during the year. The next thing I want to discuss is allergies, right? So obviously with spring and fall, kind of the times changing, the leaves either dying, or in spring everything kind of coming to life and pollen all over the place. How does allergies come into play or affect you? According to the Chattanooga Allergy Clinic, Chattanooga received a score of 83 in the spring and 86 in the fall out of a score of 100. So it's not something that's very horrible like a lot of places. I know I've seen many different lists of the worst places to live as far as allergy goes. Chattanooga is always in the top 100, sometimes in the top 50, depending on which list you look into. So it definitely is something that will affect you. I grew up in South Florida, never had any issues with allergies, moved to Chattanooga, and for the first year or two during, spring and fall, I did have to take some 24-hour medication for allergies. If you are somebody that has issues with allergies wherever you're coming from, just expect that you're probably gonna have to take the same or more medication unless you come from a horrible place with allergies. it's going to come into play. So it's just something that you're going to have to deal with, because where we live is surrounded by nature. You have mountains all over the place, you have vegetation and hiking trails and biking trails, you have the river, you have so much nature here that in springtime, when everything comes to life, sometimes, you know, you'll look up in the sky and it kind of looks yellowish. Your cars will have this like kind of little foam yellow on the car, and it rains, and then all the streets are filled with pollen on the floor, yellow pollen. That's what you can expect here. So allergies will definitely come into play. Something I want to touch on is rain and sunshine. I know I already talked about what kind of rain you can find here. Rain here in Chattanooga, we get above the national average. I believe the national average is 38 inches of rain a year. In Chattanooga, we get about 51 inches. So it's definitely way above average when it comes to rain. I already mentioned that it's very drizzly in the winter. Sometimes in the spring or summertime, we do get some thunderstorms, but it's not anything crazy. We do get a lot of wind, again, not anything crazy. But when we look at sunshine, the national average is 205 days of sunshine. In Chattanooga, we're above average. We get 207 days of sunshine. Not much above the national average, but we do definitely get a plentiful amount of sunshine. So when you couple rain with a lot of sunshine, that's why the nature here just looks amazing. Again, I can't overstress how beautiful it is here. I will put drone shots and drive-bys and parks and mountains, but unless you come in person, you really can't understand how beautiful it is here, especially if you're coming from the West Coast, where places are more dry. People that come here from California or Arizona, Nevada, all those places are absolutely amazed of how green it is here, how lush it is, and how beautiful the area is. And that's today's video, guys. I hope I was able to answer your questions about weather. If there's any other questions you have about weather or where to find a house or what place best suits you and your family's life, feel free to reach out to me on the number on your screen. I'm a real estate agent here, and I would absolutely love helping you make the move to Chattanooga. Shoot me a text, give me a call, and I would love to talk to you. Until next time, take care and God bless.